Hi, my name's Anna with Casting Queens. I live in Bozeman, Montana. I was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska. I've grown up fishing in Alaska my entire life. I still go back every summer to fish for salmon and halibut, but it was only recently that I discovered my love for fly fishing here in Montana. One thing I learned moving here to Montana is that even though we do fish with a fly rod in Alaska, it's not technically fly fishing, so I did have a lot of a learning curve to learn from. So one thing I will point out is that the setup for fly fishing or flossing is what we call it for salmon in Alaska is very different. We use a size 3 hook on the Kenai River. We put either a bead or kind of just a little piece of yarn. It's legal to knot, even though you are just kind of snagging them in the mouth. They're not biting it. They're just kind of, you're really just trying to get them as they're coming up the river. It is technically, you have to have something on there. And then the monofilament line is a 25 or 30 test. I have a 30 test, but you can do okay with 20 or 25. Based on where I fish, I have it about an arm's length. Depending on where you're at, you might need a little bit less or a little bit more. And then at the end, you have a swivel, and then you have a weight. You might have to adjust the weight depending on where you are at in the river as well. I like this because it kind of spins with the water as you're dragging it through. You'll notice if you see videos of people on the Kenai River that they're very closely spaced out, and we call that combat fishing. Tangles are very rare because you're not putting out that much line and you're kind of just smacking the river and letting it flow through. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to drift it just so that your hook goes exactly into the mouth of the salmon coming through. And the salmon will come up in waves. They're not always going to be flowing through. Sometimes they'll be coming up in an hour and they'll be a bunch at the same time. And then sometimes there will be none for an hour. There'll be none coming through. So you just kind of have to sit in your spot, because if you even take a break to go get a drink, someone else will come in and take your spot, and then the salmon will come and then they'll get all your fish. So you really have to kind of stake your spot out on the river, no matter if they're there or not. They change the counts where someday if the fish are in there, you'll be able to have one fish per person, or 3, or sometimes up to 9. And so the goal is to get your count in before you pack out. And so when I was there this summer, it was 3 fish a piece, but I've been there where it's been 6 fish a piece. And you stay in your spot until you get your fish, and then you take them out, you fillet, and you go home with presents for all your friends.